We got a healthy mix of attendees coming in. We're going to wait 1 more minute past the hour, and then we'll go ahead and start the presentation. All attendees are muted, and we'll be allowed to ask questions during the Q&A portion here. Excellent. More and more people coming in here. I think we'll start. All right, we're going to go ahead and start the webinar. All right. Well, hello and welcome to our Workday and VNDLY webinar on how connecting your HCM and VMS can drive a more adaptable workforce. This is part 2 of a 3-part web series. For those who attended our first webinar, welcome back and thank you for continuing your journey with us. We will be led to this presentation by Kerry Kiley, Workday's own Senior Contingent Workforce Program Manager, as well as Katie Thompson, VNDLY's Senior Solution Consultant, who will walk you through a guided demo of what a connected Workday and VNDLY experience actually looks like. And VNDLY's Chief Architect, Chuck Mobley, will be joining us for the Q&A portion of the program. And just a brief note on our safe harbor statement. This presentation highlights the key capabilities of Workday and VNDLY and current functionality. We ask that you only evaluate us based on what is live in the product today. I'd like to recap where we are in this webinar series. The first webinar, VNDLY's founder, Shashank Saxena, and Chuck Mobley walked through Workday and VNDLY Connector and its ease in implementation and configuration. Today, we are looking at the next phase of the Workday Connector and see what experience is like from both Workday and a VNDLY perspective. Our third webinar will conclude the series with a look at how easy it is to migrate your current VMS over to VNDLY. Please stay tuned for further details in this third webinar.
Great, thanks. So here's what we'll be going over today. First, I will walk you through my world a little bit and provide some key points around what makes an extended workforce program effective, which in turn helps your organization to drive that more adaptable workforce. Next, we will go over some of the challenges when your HCM and VMS are disconnected, an experience I recently overcame. Third, we will explore the connected Workday and VNDLY experience and share the value that provides, followed by a demo with Katie showing you this connection in action, and finally, a Q&A where Chuck will be joining the floor for any questions you may have. First, let's begin by talking about the workforce composition. We know from the likes of Forbes and from our own experience with trying to hire talent that it is not easy to find what you are looking for to fill those skill gaps in our organizations. There is an undeniable skill shortage, and more organizations have been and are increasingly using the extended workforce to fill in those gaps. Studies show that by 2027, it is estimated the number of extended workers will be half of the workforce population in the US. Some companies today are already over that 50% mark. And I know that to be true because I used to manage programs that were at or above the 50% mark already. Organizations need to be able to have a more elastic talent strategy that is supported by processes and systems to enable a more adaptable workforce. But first, what is an adaptable workforce? As mentioned in my opening slide, the workforce composition is changing. There's a need for organizations to adopt a more elastic talent strategy to create a more agile approach so that we can flex and adapt to changing business needs. As noted, there is an increasing number of organizations relying on a diverse mix of contributors, including extended workers, gig workers, freelancers, etc., to get work done. The concept of the workforce is no longer confined to salaried full-time employees. Instead, Many companies are embracing a workforce ecosystem model, which offers an integrated approach to strategically managing widely varying groups of internal and external workers. But organizational adaptability or agility does not happen naturally. Like building a muscle, an organization needs to exercise that adaptability. You need the right tools, processes, and programs in place to build and manage that total workforce, which is made up of employees and the extended workforce. Creating an adaptable workforce starts with an effective extended workforce program. Managing a program is challenging and complex. You have job recs, suppliers, compliance, rates, invoicing, onboarding, offboarding. Multiply that by the number of workers and vendors that you have to manage, and you've got a lot of processes, people, and compliance to work with. Not to mention ensuring that you are filling roles as quickly as possible with the right people and skills, as well as at the right price and staying within that budget. To make sure you have an effective program that supports a workforce that is adaptable to the evolving needs of your business, I've identified 4 key areas to help you succeed. Number 1, organizational buy-in. In a strong extended workforce program needs that support of the key organizational stakeholders to ensure its success. At Workday, the extended workforce program falls under people and purpose, also known as human resources. We sit parallel with talent services and other people functions where the people aspect of our workforce is a primary consideration in the design and execution of our program policies and processes. The previous programs that I have managed also sat within an HR function, of course, always with a close partnership with procurement. Number 2, having a PMO or an MSP. Our extended workforce program provides the sourcing and management support of the workers that we engage for services. We govern this workforce with a collection of key policy provisions, including but not limited to clear worker categories, tenure limits on assignments, break and service requirements for shifting between the defined categories, and ensuring the use of Magnet, Workday's selected services provider, in the United States, Canada, UK, and Ireland to manage our contingent worker engagements, with all other countries supported by my internal Workday extended team. Sorry. Whether your program is run out of HR or procurement, this structure is common for those who have a PMO and or an MSP. This is also the structure that is similar to how I run our program here at Workday. In partnership with our managed service provider, we are responsible for finding the talent and managing the end-to-end process for these non-employee workers. We also manage the contingent worker onboarding and compliance requirements for all of our extended workforce globally, all of the categories and all of the workers who are non-employees that are onboarded at Workday, all of which is best enabled with the technology of a VMS, which brings us to number 3, extended workforce management system. You really need a modern solution that is intended to manage the end-to-end life cycle of these non-employee workers in a system that is designed to manage their complexities, not just tracking where they are and who they report into. VNDLY has a 30-second test. If it takes more than 30 seconds to locate non-employee information, they need VNDLY. For example, can you locate the non-employee information in 30 seconds for spend oversight, for work location and system access, for their location, for current and past projects, for workplace safety and incident tracking? Our program outcomes differentiate us by having and giving our internal customers the ability to easily and quickly access non-employee information so that they can make faster, better decisions and with more confidence. And finally, on-demand visibility into your headcount and spend. What good is tracking and managing all of this information if you can't easily access and share the information with program stakeholders and executives? VNDLY is a modern and intuitive extended workforce and vendor management system that can help organizations manage the full life cycle of your extended workforce, from requisitions to the sourcing process, engagement, management, and pay, as well as being able to access and share the information you need on this non-employee workforce to make better, more informed business decisions, decisions that can help your organization to be more agile and adaptable to manage the changing needs of your business. So now that we've covered the 4 key areas for having an effective extended workforce program, I will share some of the challenges with disconnected systems. This is an area I'm quite familiar with. At Workday, we initially had a legacy VMS that did not play well with our Workday HCM solution. We were using 2 separate systems, which caused many challenges with operating an effective program. Today, I will go through these challenges with you. First, we've got multiple data entry points. How much time are you spending alt-tabbing from one system to another? How about your other users? What are the chances for human error when you have multiple entry points for entering data? And you know what they say, garbage in, garbage out. Information is only useful if it's accurate. The data not being in sync. No matter how quickly you're entering information in one system and then the other, the information will truly never be in sync. There will always be a lag time or wait time in between those data entry efforts. And if errors are made, the information in the system is never actually aligned. Lack of spend visibility. When your finance team asks you for information on the spend data for your extended workforce, are you able to easily hand that over? What about errors in billing that they might find? Are you able to quickly investigate and resolve those? How many hours does it take to reconcile invoices with all of your workers and suppliers? Inflexible user experience. With multiple systems tracking multiple sources of information, your users are not having the best experience. Which information can be found where? If there is an issue or an error, who do they follow up with? And how quickly will it be resolved? Or can they maybe resolve it themselves? Do they have the right access to the right systems? Or does a ticket have to be submitted, which can take days or even weeks? Cumbersome reporting. Multiple systems means multiple methods of reporting and then consolidating information manually to make the data meaningful. How easily can you share the information on your program with other stakeholders? Lack of visibility into all worker types. Going back and forth between multiple systems to understand the total picture of your entire workforce is administrative and inefficient. Having information on both your employees and non-employees is already a good start, but seeing both sets of data in a single solution is even better. With VNDLY and Workday together, you can source and manage your total workforce using the core information of both your employees and non-employee workers. Workday and VNDLY provide complete visibility across your entire employee and external workforce, enabling you to be better equipped to be more agile and adaptable to workforce changes. But don't take my word for it. Let's have Katie jump into a demonstration to show you exactly what the user experience looks like with a connected Workday and VNDLY solution by walking you through some recruitment scenarios from both a hiring manager and program manager perspective.
Thank you, Kerry. The reality customers face in today's ever-changing world of work is that even after schedules have been optimized, gigs have been leveraged for reskilling activities, and benchmarking data has been used to assure market parity with wages, there is still an increasing need to take advantage of an extended workforce. And that is where our customers are leveraging the power of Workday and VNDLY together. We will see that today, starting with our VP of HR, Logan McNeil. Here in Workday, Logan is once again supported in not only helping to build headcount plans with Workday's adaptive planning, but in monitoring the progress of the execution of those plans in the same place she comes to process pay, engage with her workforce, and recruit for those full-time employees. She can quickly see that while several organizations are going to plan, there is quite a gap in that plan to actual headcount for the accounts receivable department. Because she is in Workday, she can quickly dive deeper into this information and see that we do in fact have several open requisitions for this missing headcount, and that all of these openings roll to one individual manager. She can continue to get more information about the specific requisitions, or contact Kyle and have a conversation with him about the situation. She can even access his entire team directly in an easy-to-read org chart view, helping her to quickly see that not only do we have those 4 open requisitions, but there are even more unfilled positions in his organization. No wonder his team is sharing in Pecan employee voice surveys that they are feeling overworked. After discussing with Kyle, Logan decides it's time to reach out to her extended workforce network and get these requisitions out to her preferred suppliers ASAP. She is able to request a new requisition right from Kyle's org chart, and after the approval business process is complete, she knows this requisition will flow into VNDLY automatically for rate card standardization and distribution, leveraging those pre-built connectors built and maintained by Workday. Or she has the power of choice and the flexibility to open this requisition directly in VNDLY. And even though there are 7 open positions here, VNDLY already knows which positions are available for that external sourcing and will take care of that work for her. Now that Logan has decided to reach out to her external workforce network, it's time for her financial counterpart and program manager Robin to step in, counting on VNDLY for downstream automation and standardized program controls. Just like we saw in Workday for Logan, as program manager and system administrator, Robin has full access and visibility to everything she needs to see and do for her program in a simple to understand, familiar experience. She is supported with modern, easy-to-use navigation and high-level visibility into her program, so she can quickly see where she needs to focus her energy today, including urgent tasks and notifications, and is also supported with graphical reporting to quickly answer top-of-mind questions. Right from her homepage, she has a complete pulse check on her entire program, and because VNDLY has a fully responsive web design that is scalable and accessible on any device, she can work when and where she wants or needs to. Through VNDLY's modern user-friendly design, Robin is able to easily access her open jobs and filter, sort, and search the same as if she was shopping on the internet. It's that same user-friendly, consumer-driven experience our customers have become accustomed to. Here we see one of the job requisitions that was already created and approved in Workday, then pushed to VNDLY for sourcing, leveraging the power of those pre-built connectors. When reviewing open jobs in VNDLY, Robin has clear and detailed visibility into where activities are in the process and what is left to be complete. She has access to details about the role itself, including the Workday requisition ID, and visibility into which vendors have received this requisition for sourcing. Today, Robin wants to open a new requisition in VNDLY, leveraging the power of those Workday connectors, knowing they will honor her existing creation reasons, org hierarchies, job profile information, and even those open positions, doing that work so she doesn't have to. If no other changes are needed, Robin is able to immediately submit this requisition for approval and distribution, keeping this process as simple and efficient as possible. Before submitting today, Robin wants to review this job requisition and potentially make changes to it. Hiring team information pulls over from Workday automatically, and Robin has the flexibility to add additional members as needed for greater visibility. We can see the connector honoring those existing creation reasons, as well as things like location detail. This again is work our customers don't have to do twice. VNDLY is also able to track accounting details for Robin, and as part of implementation, we set these Workday custom fields up for our customers to capture important Workday data. And we even provide unlimited custom fields that our customers themselves can configure without having to call support. Because flexibility is key to the success of any program, our connectors also support kicking off the Create Position Approval business process from the VNDLY side as well. Again, our technology provides the flexibility and power of choice for our customers to manage their extended workforce program the way they want or need to, including building controls around their program spend with rate standardization. The job details and requirements flow over from Workday and combine with those standardized rate cards automatically so that Robin has all the information she could possibly need in one easy to understand, secure place. And here is where we see VNDLY honoring those existing pre-approved positions. Even though this job rec is being started in VNDLY, VNDLY knows it needs to be associated with an open position because the job is in an organization using position management. And VNDLY knows which positions of those original 7 are in fact available, really simplifying this experience for our customers while ensuring they honor processes and data that they already have in place. As Robin goes to submit this job requisition, you will notice VNDLY continuing to support her by asking if she has someone in mind for this role. If she does, she can save time, money, and frustration by keeping this requisition out of her standard process. If not, VNDLY is going to continue to support her with distribution automation, again based on rules configured by her. Not only that, but VNDLY security helps to restrict this view to protect vendor neutrality, and she is supported with an additional level of automation through vendor tiers for escalation. This automation and flexibility ensures Robin is getting the best candidates as quickly as possible, with the least amount of manual effort. And just like in Workday, when needed, those additional approval workflows and rules can be configured with the ability to ad hoc add approvers if needed. The green checkmark indicating success is another level of consistent experience for our customers, helping drive adoption of our solutions. We talked about that ability and flexibility to start recs in Workday or VNDLY. By electing to start this requisition in VNDLY, Robin gets the added bonus of being able to surface it to her suppliers while it is still pending approval, so they can engage in proactive sourcing activities. While we won't be covering the vendor experience today, VNDLY was designed with experience in mind for all parties, so vendors have the same modern, intuitive experience when they come to VNDLY, with activities and visibility controlled by their role-based security, whether they are viewing open requisitions, submitting candidates, entering time, and even generating invoices. Once candidates have been submitted, it's time for Robin and her team to review those candidates and select one. VNDLY provides Robin and her team with easy access to compare candidates side by side in a simple-to-read format. Candidates can be shortlisted by Robin, limiting the number of candidates her hiring managers review, and getting the best person in as quickly as possible. VNDLY even supports this effort by providing supplier rate information alongside ranking details on the individual candidates, and easily identifies duplicates, enabling the program team to quickly make informed decisions based on their established policies when multiple suppliers submit the same candidate. VNDLY continues to support streamlining and efficiency through ease of sharing, communication, and interview scheduling, all within the simplicity and security of VNDLY. And just like in Workday, Robin has the ability to drill in and get detailed information regarding the individual candidate themselves, all in one centralized location. Details like their technical abilities, what type of financial arrangement is in place with this particular supplier, and details where an offer has been extended. VNDLY auto-generates a unique ID for every candidate that stays with them as they become a contractor. This unique ID is what allows VNDLY to identify duplicates as well as rehire eligibility and track things such as tenure compliance. Robin also has full visibility into where candidates are in the application process, including any steps that have been skipped, in an easy-to-read visual. This visual can be surfaced to vendors as well, creating transparency and reducing unnecessary phone calls and emails. And finally, through the configuration of checklists, VNDLY enables that vendor-driven onboarding, giving suppliers access to complete any necessary items for their worker, while allowing Robin to put controls around what is required. Once all of the necessary pre-onboarding checklist items are complete, a candidate is engaged. Once again, we see VNDLY honoring and acknowledging our available positions and that indication of success. From here, VNDLY automatically generates a work order assignment and a contractor profile for Frank, leveraging all of that detailed information from the job requisition and candidate profile that we just saw. That's work no one has to do. And as we can see, this data is then pushed into Workday automatically via those Workday connectors, with VNDLY keeping our customers informed so they always know what is going on with their processes, including those integrations. Now, these integrations are real-time or near real-time, so they will not slow down any provisioning or downstream integrations, and our customers will have that full picture of their entire workforce all in one place. Now that we've found a qualified candidate and gotten them engaged, let's switch back to Workday and see how seamless and simple it is for Logan to get the full picture of her total workforce. And just like that, both Logan and her hiring manager Kyle have visibility to Frank right alongside their full-time employees, giving them not only that full picture of their total workforce, but the ability to immediately take action as well. Activities such as ending, extending, or converting Frank into a full-time employee can be complete on either the Workday or VNDLY side, and our technology will take care of the rest, including kicking off any related business processes that our customers have configured for their external workers. And when it comes to that full picture of the workforce for the entire organization, looking at both full-time employees and contingent labor side by side, Workday continues to support Logan across all areas of her business. We can see total worker data brought together by those pre-built connectors so she can quickly identify things like headcount, tenure, internal project work, and details around those downstream provisioning and deprovisioning activities, or spend information as well. Because she is in Workday, she has that same ability to ask and answer questions for additional information that she's accustomed to, such as where these workers are located by location across the globe. All of this rich data delivered side by side in that single familiar experience, helping our customers make the best decisions about their business, including their extended workforce program. And once they've made those decisions and it's time to execute, it's a simple click and single sign-on right back into VNDLY for that end-to-end execution of their external workforce program. With Workday's vendor management solution VNDLY, our HR professionals know that not only will they be supported in getting the word out and receiving top qualified candidates as quickly as possible, but that both their internal finance and technology business partners will be supported with deep supplier management, downstream automation, and the ability to standardize program control, all in a simple to use, intuitive experience.
Thank you for that great demonstration, Katie. So now you've seen what the hiring experience looks like from a connected Workday and VNDLY perspective. As Katie mentioned, the connector also triggers processes in those downstream systems that you have already integrated with Workday. With Workday operating as a hub, you have the ability to power extended worker provisioning triggered through the connection with VNDLY, which flows the necessary information through to Workday and then to all the downstream systems that extended workers need access to. When you roll out a VMS, you don't want to start that process again and have to set up integrations with all the systems you integrated with when you rolled out Workday. VNDLY has 28 native APIs set up in less than 20 minutes, as demonstrated in the first webinar in this series. Once you're already connected to Workday, it means VNDLY is subsequently connected to all downstream systems. Manager experience is consistent, can all be handled in Workday. All employees, all non-employees, everyone is provisioned through Workday. Workday acts as that hub for provisioning and reporting for your extended workforce. This cuts down on the implementation time because everything is integrated. We don't have to build those point-to-point integrations with downstream systems as we're already connected to Workday. And that makes the change management even easier since there's a consistent hiring manager experience. As a program manager who uses this connector between Workday and VNDLY every day, we have seen significant value realizations across our program in just the first 2 months. Starting with process optimization, we implemented VNDLY with the Workday Connector integration where our former VMS was siloed. This allowed us to reduce data entry points from 3 systems to 1 system. We've also redirected 25 hours each week from data entry to higher value work, as well as eliminating a monthly review meeting with finance to go over billing errors by having different information in different disconnected systems. We were able to improve the vendor experience and responsiveness with a user-friendly, intuitive navigation experience and mobile functionality that allows vendors to more quickly submit candidates and manage their assigned employees. The flexible configuration makes expanding or updating the functionality easy to self-administer in VNDLY as a program manager. With my legacy VMS, we had to submit a ticket for any additional or changes to the current functionality. And the flexibility of VNDLY really does foster a culture of continuous improvement with a weekly release schedule of meaningful enhancements for the business. Being able to track and manage consistent compliance processes in VNDLY for extended workers globally has reduced compliance risk and errors in a measurable way for us already. Provisioning and security controls are easy to set up and manage in VNDLY, and stakeholders get on-demand and real-time direct access to information through VNDLY dashboards and reporting. Our finance team can access reports themselves now that were being emailed with our previous VMS. And now our internal stakeholders can track 100% of external worker types and their movement. As we continue to expand our system functionality with VNDLY and take advantage of the new innovations that get released on a weekly basis, the value that we will find will also continue to grow and expand with our extended workforce program. And just to wrap things up before we move on to the Q&A, I would like to highlight the top 3 takeaways from our session today. Number 1, an effective extended workforce program is essential in supporting a more adaptable workforce for your organization. Number 2, Workday and VNDLY together provide significant value across your extended workforce program, from reducing massive amounts of dual data entry to having data always in sync, making visibility and reporting over your total workforce easy and accessible. And finally, together, Workday and VNDLY provide the total workforce headcount and spend visibility you need to enable a more adaptable workforce planning approach. And now we'll move into Q&A.
All right. Well, I'm going to open up the floor for Q&A. We've already had a number of questions that have come through. I'll also go ahead and recommend to the team to get off camera and show us your beautiful faces so we can interact with the crowd. Sorry, let's go back there. So a couple of questions have popped up during this, so let's go ahead and address those. And as we mentioned before, if we could answer all questions, we will. If not, please follow up with us. I'm happy to answer things on a one-by-one basis. So for the first question, I see, does spend visibility apply to Workday customers who do not have Workday financials?
Hey, Paul,
Yes.
before we get into answering questions, none of the panelists can start our videos because it has been disabled by the host. So I don't know if it's something that can be fixed real quick. If not, we can absolutely answer like this, but just wanted to check.
Let's go ahead and answer the question, and then we'll go ahead and I'll try to make sure that you guys are able to show your faces as well. So
I can take that first question, Paul. So for contingent workers that are through your staffing partners, when you're using the VMS module of VNDLY, you can see the spend management regardless of anything that you're also doing in Workday Financial. So when you open that job request, there is a rate tied to it so that the finance approvers and all of the approvers in the chain can see an estimated cost. And then when the worker is selected and they route through for approval, it is with their actual cost, right? So the bill rate times the length of assignment gives you a budget, and then their depletion of the funds can be tracked against that estimated budget. So for those contingent workers in the VMS module, you can, and without having a connection to that Workday Financial.
awesome. Thanks for you. So for the next question is, do we need Workday recruiting in order to utilize VNDLY?
I can answer that. So the answer is no. When we think about sourcing within the VMS, VNDLY does have its own sourcing framework. So a job rec can be created in VNDLY and distributed to a supplier network in VNDLY. So Workday recruiting is not required to use with VNDLY.
Okay, great. And then next question we have here. Is there resource tracking, headcount tracking capabilities?
I can answer that as well. Yes, we do have reporting capabilities for headcount tracking in VNDLY. I'm not sure if that's what the question is asking, or if it's something else. But in general, we do have headcount tracking capabilities with reporting. We also integrate with Workday HCM headcount tracking. So, for example, if you're using position management in Workday, we integrate with that as well. And we also integrate with Workday's other staffing model, which is job management.
Awesome. Next question. Can we connect with specific third-party job posting sites that we want to post requisitions on?
We do have some customers that are using third-party ATS systems for similar scenarios. So, for example, there's a few ATS systems that have bots that can pull job information from VNDLY and post that in their tool. In addition to that, VNDLY has APIs that also expose job information as well.
Okay. And who's doing the ranking of candidates?
Ranking, there's a couple of dimensions for thinking about ranking of candidates in VNDLY. One is we have a couple of different features for flagging candidates. Shortlisting is one example. In addition to that, we also have a machine learning model that we use for scoring similarity between candidate information and job posting information, and we can generate a score based on that type of information as well.
Okay, and this one, somewhat of a long question. We have some flags in our additional data where managers select the type of IT access license needed. Can that be done in VNDLY? and part of the inbound integration. We need this to be part of the hiring process so that it can be sent to our identity management applications.
Yeah, this is a good question. There's a couple of ways I think about this. There's at least 3 different ways to approach this problem. One is some customers use custom orgs for managing worker populations for scenarios like this. We do integrate with the ability to assign organizations in Workday during the hiring process. So for example, when we trigger the integration to create a position or contract a contingent worker, we can send org information along with that. So that's one way of doing this. We also have some customers that use the worker subtype capability in Workday. So for example, when you're managing a contingent worker, you have your worker subtype field, you can customize that specific to your Workday tenant needs. We can import that information, link it to the worker in VNDLY and send that back. And some customers use that as part of their provisioning process as well. I think in this case, what the question is asking is probably support for custom fields by sending that over with the additional data. We don't currently support that today. We are looking at that as something to expand on in our roadmap in the future though. But I think we could also come up with some other solutions using the other 2 methods I discussed.
Sure. Thanks for that, Chuck. Next question, is compliance configurable for variances in role types and global locations? Anyone want to answer?
I can take that one. Yep. We have compliance checklists set up in VNDLY and they are highly configurable. So we are able to capture additional requirements for unique either cost centers. There's a few different ways that you might be able to flag it, geographical locations, et cetera. And we're continuing to have to iterate on those checklists and requirements as things change and shift. So we're finding that to be very flexible.
Okay. And then, do you have to have Workday financials to take advantage of VNDLY?
No, we do have customers that have other finance systems as well, such as SAP and Oracle, and we can integrate with those systems too.
Okay. And then we have another question here. They keep coming in. Hello, VNDLY team. Can you share examples of how this product has been used with shift-based workers, and how does time management, billing, etc., work with and without Workday?
So Chuck, I'm not sure if you are able to take that one. We at Workday, and being a client and user of the product, don't have shift-based work. I know there are VNDLY customers that have it. So we could probably have someone from the sales team follow up with you to connect you, or the customer support team to connect you to some of those customers perhaps.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
Okay. How is the VNDLY unique ID generated, and how does it detect duplicates? So more of a technical question there.
So on the unique ID side, we have a concept of a unique ID that's tied to a worker that uses information based on first name, last name, some aspects of social security number or ID, like a country ID. And we use that to detect duplicates within VNDLY. The other aspect that we integrate with, and when I normally talk about when I get asked this question, is HCM thinks about duplicate management slightly differently than VMS systems do. So there's also a common question that we get asked about, which is duplicate pre-hire IDs in Workday, and how do we prevent that? So we do have the ability to link to pre-hire IDs in Workday. We can link to pre-hire IDs that are already set up for existing workers. We can link pre-hire IDs for inactive workers that have no longer, that aren't doing work but have come back. And we can keep those links around once they're set up in the system as well. And we can generate them for new workers that come in. So there's kind of a few different areas of support that we have in that space.
Great, thanks, Chuck. And another question here. At what point is the background and drug screening process completed?
This is configurable. Some of our customers will do this before onboarding a worker, and some of them will do this after onboarding a worker. A lot of this depends on your hiring processes. We do have concepts of checklists to help manage this.
Okay, great. And another question here. Can we push onboarding tasks through VNDLY?
That's a very vague question. When you say onboarding tasks, I feel like that could mean so many different things. Chuck, did you want to try?
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's a couple ways to think about this. We do have, like I mentioned in my previous answer, we do have the concept of checklists that can be set up in VNDLY, both for pre-onboarding and post-onboarding. Is the first, that's probably the most common scenario that the customers use. In addition to that, when we talk about like Workday as a hub, for example, you can have other onboarding tasks that's just generating an account for a worker that happen outside of VNDLY in another system. That's why we integrate with Workday's business process framework, so that you can have some of those tasks set up in Workday as well, because you might already have similar tasks set up for your full-time employees, and we want you to be able to reuse those tasks.
Right. And we have time for a few more questions. What are the timelines for implementation?
I'm happy to take that one since we recently implemented. We were able to implement in the standard 14-week timeline. And when I say standard, I mean the VNDLY standard timeline that they will show you if you ask. And we were able to do it in that 14 weeks without any issues.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And we have another question here. What controls are in place to eliminate candidate duplication between agencies? Or is it only based on candidate data only regardless of the agency they are connected with or contracted with?
Yeah, so in the previous answer I discussed, I talked about how we generate the worker unique ID. That is independent of a specific agency. So the data that we use is not tied to a specific agency.
Okay, great. We have another question here. Is the integration between VNDLY and Workday configurable? And for example, if we have a client that doesn't want to house end reasons in Workday for contingent workers, but end reasons are required for the program and need to be included as reportable fields in VNDLY, is this possible?
I'll answer this two ways. Yes, the integrations are configurable. For the end reason specific scenario, we would probably recommend setting up a custom data source and a custom field for that as well. We do have to have reasons in sync for workers that we send over from VNDLY to Workday, because Workday has to have that information in order to load the worker into Workday. In this type of a scheme, though, where multiple end reason schemes are being requested to be set up, we would support that with a custom field. I think we've had one or two other customers ask about that and implement something like that in the past.
Right. So a few more questions here. One in particular about the webinar. Where can I find the recording for the first webinar in the series? We will be emailing that out to you, but it is located on the VNDLY.com website. But you will receive a link to that webinar as well as this recording and update on the upcoming webinar, which we're planning on hosting mid-November. I also have received a couple of comments on some blurry footage with the demo. We will be sending out a high resolution video for everyone to review in case you experience any issues with your bandwidth to view that. And it looks like we have time for one more question here. So go ahead and make sure that we cover everyone. Let's see. Can VNDLY be used to capture deliverables for an SOW and get the necessary approval? What reports are available for IC vetting?
I can take at least a portion of that one. VNDLY absolutely supports that SOW outsourced supplier work, defining payment by milestone deliverables, units, fixed price, you name it. We can even view and report on billable and non-billable workers that are associated with that type of work. We just didn't cover that in the demonstration today. And we'd be happy to follow up with you on that level of demonstration. And I believe the other half of the question was on IC reporting. Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, so what reports are available for IC vetting?
So I don't know the specific reports that are available, but VNDLY delivers over 200 base reports for our customers, and any of the data that's available inside of VNDLY can be built out in a report. We have a very user-friendly UI in order to design and write your own reports. So hopefully that answers the question.
Great. Well, that wraps up today's webinar. Apologize for any technical issues on the blurry side of things for certain individuals, and also unable to show everyone's face on here, but we will address those for the next one. Please be on the lookout. We'll send a follow-up email to review a high definition version of this webinar. It should be available within the next week or so. In addition to that, we'll have part 3 wrapping up this series, which is going to be held in mid-November. You'll receive an invite to that as well. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free to respond to anyone here, whether it's the email we send out with the video, or if you just want to reach out to individuals here individually. We'd love to spend some time to learn more about your business needs and possibly set up a demo to review the product and go a little bit more in depth into the integrations. I just want to thank everyone that participated today, Kerry, Katie, and Chuck. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate everyone that was on today's webinar. Look forward to connecting with you in the future.